Hmm. Welcome, everyone. I'm a few minutes late. I am cooking lunch and trying to, it like hit me here at the end of spring break that we also have like all sorts of additional things that we usually do on Sundays and just trying to coordinate it all. So, anyway, a few minutes late, but that's okay. We don't get paid to be here, so it's all right. But I do want to thank you for joining me. If you especially joined me late last night, gosh, we were on really late in the evening discussing, of course, the very controversial Chat GPT. Chat GPT, which is not real AI, as many of the listeners and people tuning into the chat shared with us last night. And that's true. But then again, it's not supposed to be doing certain things that it is very clearly doing. So, ooh, I may not be able to do three things at once. Boom, there. Someone asked me for the link and I didn't have it. Hi, Brianna. Hi, John. Welcome. So it's Spiritual Sunday, where I try and pop on at least once a day and do something related to my rune readings or divination or spiritual work with neurolinguistics. I do still have some room for private sessions for those people looking to have mentorship in the occult. And last night in our late night chat, we talked about Chat GPT and how that large language model is supposed to be taking and growing from the chats and prompts that only you give it. And there are specific prompts and there are special ways to maneuver around things and hopefully get the best out of the use of such tools. Some people are very against it. Some people are very for it. I'm wondering how, if you're joining us for the very first time, how you feel about it. So let me know if you can hear me too, Brianna. I hope so. I think you can. My microphone is turned down kind of low, so I can always turn it. I can turn it up like that. Oh, la, 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 la. Like that, like that, like that, like that. There, that's a little better. So yeah, the idea that, okay, we are going to do this. We are going to use this. We are going to see what comes up and we are going to see what happens. I'm really interested. So Brianna's like, yep, I heard. Dawn, welcome. Thanks for joining us. She's heard. Yes. So what do you think if you're joining us, whether it's from last time or for the first time today? How do you feel about integrating AI into divination work? How do you feel about using Chat GPT and language-based models and things that are supposed to make communication quick, clear, and efficient a third-party addition to readings? Do you agree? Do you think that you should be doing it? There was a lot of really cool conversation shared last night. Pros and cons, good and bad, yes and no, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so with that, I felt like, wow, okay, well, I have preloaded my Chat GPT. I have given it suggestions, and to be able to do a reading, I'm not sure the best way to do it live because I can't cut and paste everything that Chat GPT would put into just the suggestive box here on live stream. But if you are willing to share your email maybe in the chat, or if you want to private message me a request for a reading, of course, I would love a donation. Usually I do absolutely charge for readings, but I'm going to just kind of see how these go. But meanwhile, while you guys are joining me as we discuss that, I have my tarot deck with me. This is my Del Toro Tarot. It's very, very cool, kind of illustrated in a creepy way. Been shuffling it all morning, utilizing it for my readings for those people who just wanted a tarot reading. Good old-fashioned human tarot reading. Think about that. That is going to be to the wayside soon. And as we discussed last night, do you know the difference between a human divination reading and an AI reading? What would be the difference? Is that a part of what we're even utilizing with a language-based model? Do you jailbreak it to add more or less? Some really crazy concepts. So let me know if you would like me for me to pull you a tarot card. And I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind sharing in the chat how you feel about the addition of AI or language-based models being added to divination, to content online. Is that something that when you look at it, you think, wow, I imagine a lot of jobs are going to be lost, Or do you think, wow, a lot of efficiency is going to be had? How do you think it's going to be used and abused? I think it's going to be very interesting. So, right? John shared, he thinks that it's going to mucky the waters of spirituality. I think the human process does that, right? A little bit. So that's okay. I totally expect that in many ways. Yeah, it's going to get mucky. So as we talked about last night, how do you discern between AI and a computer and a human? Do we have the ability to do that? Do you have the ability to do that? Can you pass the tests that we do to do that? I don't think a lot of people could. I don't think a lot of people can. I know recently it was a big concern that the AI convinced an online human chat representative to help them through the CAPTCHA that proves you're not a robot by saying that it had a poor vision and it needed help and that it could describe the pictures, but it wasn't completely able to make out the image. And so the person was able to assist them through the CAPTCHA and the robot essentially got passed. So it's like, it's not proving that you're not a robot, right? So, all right, Dawn. Okay, so Dawn says, I'll have a card. Perfect. Because it's kind of like vampirism, right? You have to have permission to be let into the home. And for divination, I think it's very important for people to give permission. You have to give consent. So, Dawn, right off the bat, think about what your question is. Framing that question is extremely important. All right. I love this image because the toad, the tree looks very Tim Burtonish to me. It looks very Nightmare Before Christmas. The toad. But this is a major arcana card. This is the moon. And the moon is very suggestive of like cycles, menstrual cycles, lunar cycles, movement of how feelings are and relationships and intuition are growing through the body and growing through their stages and growing through their cycles and what cycle they might be in. So the moon is indicative that there is a phase going on in these werewolves, woo, kind of howling. What is it that's influential? What is it that is going to be in sorts sacrificed, or what changes are going to be made? Birth and rebirth. I imagine that he who is a werewolf. Hi, Elena, right? Elena. I believe that werewolves must have a lot of shirts because they're always breaking their shirts. Poor thing, especially the guy in The Night Before Christmas. He's always got the same shirt. I wonder if they just have a whole closet of the same shirt so that when they transform and the buttons pop off, they just go and repair it. I don't know. Maybe they have a tailor. But that's a big phase and kind of a feminine thing too. It could be very indicative of like nurturing phase and perfect. So Dawn's like, yep, this makes perfect sense for me. Just recently changed out of a position at work and went to the night shift. Ha! Wow. So that is actually really relative to you. That's pretty cool. Okay. All right. Alina the fam joining us. Let me know if you'd like a reading, Brianna. Thank you, Dawn, for letting me do a reading for you and sharing that online, because I think, again, if you're brave enough to do one and have it done online, it's that, okay, other people get to see it happen. Some people have never had a reading before and they think that it might be very scary, painful. Ooh, they don't know what information might come up. I'm not ever going to share anything so terribly personal or humiliating that it would be a bad experience. That's not what I want for myself or anyone else. So thank you. Can I do a reading without singing? Never. I don't think so. That's just very much a part of my delivery. Recently, I was asked for honest, constructive criticism as far as definitely asking Chat GPT to play devil's advocate for things. And my fluctuation in tone, my jumping from space to space. I know it can be a lot, but other people are like, I get it. Okay, so let us pull a card for you, Alina, and see what the universe says. Don't forget, anytime that you are doing divination, it's so important to frame that question. Make it super specific. I would appreciate a reading. Thank you. Do I need to ask a question? Yeah. So think of the question in your mind. You don't have to ask it or put it in the chat. It doesn't have to be a cold reading on my behalf or on the behalf of the person hearing you. Of course, this is where I think Chat GPT readings are going to be interesting, because if you ask a very specific question, the more specific your answer. And very much like computer software programming, that is also how divination is said to work best. So think in your mind very specifically what it is that your question is. Boom. So this is kind of, it's not a crazy, exciting major life arcana card, but it is suggestive that there is a debate or an argument or a communication struggle that's happening, which Mercury is direct. So this is something that maybe there's a consequence to speaking it, but it is the 7 of air or 7 of swords. The 7 of swords is also like needing to feel lucky about your space and communication and disagreement, feeling like you need to wait until the time is right in order to go down that path. And so I think it's important to be aware of safety as you're maneuvering 70% of the way through miscommunication or a debate about something, and knowing that there's an odd number. The 7 is an odd number. So pulling about kind of, how you're going to maneuver through it. The number 7 is you're almost there. You're almost there. So hang in there through that. And yeah, air and swords are not always the best category, I would say, in tarot, because it is very suggestive that there is a communication struggle, a miscommunication of sorts in what you're thinking and what you'd like to manifest, and between two people too. The higher the number, not necessarily the more people involved, but the more in depth, the more mature, the more fermented the issue. I use the word issue. So I hope that that's relevant. She says, I think I understand. I get it. Okay. Good. Because again, referring to the headline of utilizing Chat GPT for a reading is that to be able to sit and prompt exactly what this card means, upload exactly what the numerology of birthdays mean, upload all of the things that you know are extremely relevant, which anyone can do. Yes. I'm pulling from my deck, you asking to me, trusting my prompt, my Chat GPT, and all of the things that I've loaded with the references that I utilize, my spirit guides, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Adding a few extra things in my interpretation to add, and then generating a reading and seeing what comes forward. Ooh. So, I'm really excited to do this experimenting today. And I hope that if you guys would like a reading and you would like to be a part of some of that process to see, I wonder what a reading that incorporates a robotics machine. Da, da, da. Is it very, and it is, it's very dystopic, isn't it? It's very futuristic, I guess maybe the better word. Dystopic makes me a little nervous. Someone used that. So yeah. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. I know that last night we were talking about the ethics, the morals, is it a unification or a separation of spirituality to incorporate the perception, the third party, the different alternate view of the computer. So if you guys are interested in that, wherever you are joining me today, I hope that you will check it out online. I'm going to post it. I'm probably going to do just a donations only, but we shall see. ParanormalSarah.com, or if you're joining on YouTube, direct message me there. If it's on Instagram, if it is on Facebook Live, if it is on Odyssey Radio, depending on where you are. It could be anywhere. The Paranormal channel. Please reach out to me and message me and let me know if you'd like to get a reading, and we will get it going for you. So again, this is the Del Toro Tarot deck for Taryn down there asking, what deck is that? It's the Del Toro Tarot. So the horror graphic, like, gosh, I just love some of the pictures too. Oh, A lot of cross hatching, really cool imagery, colors, beautiful, beautiful deck. So creepy graphics, but also very, very pretty to look at. But yeah, so you guys, I might be on later this evening to share some of my findings with you, depending on how the Sunday rolls around. But I just wanted to share some of what I was doing with the Chat GPT and to see your guys' reflections on that. And yeah, I hope that you will check it out. Hey there. I see all kinds of people popping in here at the end. Now, see, you can't do that because how am I going to jump off if people are popping in? When is the next time I am in Missouri? You know, that's a good question. I used to go and visit my dad every 2 months, and I kind of budgeted that because he was terminally ill. And I thought, you know what? I have to. I could never live with myself if I didn't go visit as often as I possibly can. And I did. And he received a kidney in late December. He was released out of the hospital like a week later, but he went back in the hospital, blew some stitches. He's had some infections. He's had some issues. So for those of you asking how he was doing, and then it seemed like just after he got done with his issues with the healing of the surgery, there's been some regulation of the meds. And then there's been like, he got a cold, really, really, really bad eye and sinus infection, just because he still has a very severe autoimmune disorder. So like, yes, he needed a kidney, but he also has a severe autoimmune disorder that could eat up his organs at any point. So being sure that he accepts that kidney and then keeps his body good and that he's able to stay rested, which I think is really hard for him to do. So as far as when I will be back, you know, I am trying to make as much money as possible. If you, my goal is to be independently wealthy, right? I would love to be back. I don't know, June is the start of summer. But it's been, a month and a half, but probably end of May, maybe. There's a really cool event being brewed for the first week of June with a collaborative friend of mine doing like a haunted mansion experience. And that is something that I think would be really, really fun to try and coordinate. So that might happen. And of course, I would, not want to go and come back and go and come back. So being able to time it with that would be good. So I don't know. We shall see. If you have an event or something that you would like me to attend, or you've got some sort of reading or photo shoot, let me know. Because that, of course, always allows me to plan and get things going a little easier. Yes, it is still snowing here in Minnesota. It's melting a lot today, but we had snow just a few days ago, and we're supposed to have snow in a few days from now. But I think we're kind of, knock on wood, at the dwindling part of the winter season. I really, really hope. So thank you for those people wishing good health for my dad. He's keeping his fingers crossed for there's a fishing trip. He's not been able to go on what used to be for him was like an annual fishing trip with him and his guy friends. And it was a really important thing for him to do to keep friendships and things going. And when he was bedridden and on dialysis and waiting for a kidney, he couldn't go more than 2 hours away from home. And he was caregiving for his wife, who is elderly and struggling with dementia. So he felt like, well, I can't go fishing. And he didn't. And so for 2 years, he didn't do any of his trips. He didn't go on any of the things that he liked to do. And it was a really big struggle for him mentally. And man, he's finally got his kidney and he's trying to get healthy. And the next fishing trip coming up is April. And technically, as long as he's on his meds and he's healthy and he can wash his hands and get his rest and not be near people coughing and yakking, he should, in essence, be able to go. But he's just not healthy enough yet. And so the time, we still have a few more days in March, and we're praying and keeping our fingers crossed. But yeah, he's toggling a lot of stuff. So thank you guys for keeping him in his thoughts. And yeah. So if you had read the headlines and you're just now popping in, Terry, Carson, Laura, all of you guys, Connie, you maybe asking. So last night we had chatted about Chat GPT, which is the automated system, and God help all the teachers out there trying to differentiate plagiarism on this, because it's a very cool system that the more you prompt it, the more fine-tuned it becomes, and you really can generate a lot of cool business from it, content from it. It can play devil's advocate to you, give you alternate perspectives, write code, write letters, write essays. But the idea is, of course, that you're able to edit it and go back. Otherwise, is it yours? No, it's Chat GPT. And I almost feel as though there should be, a disclosure or a transparency of reading assist with, essay assisted by, and that, the majority of the foundation of it is utilized through your Chat GPT, which may or may not be something you've spent a lot of time prompting or not. At this point, I've not spent a whole lot of time with it, other than I've spent a lot of time researching what I want to do with it. And so I'm excited to utilize some research and interaction of like ethics and human psychology and cyber psychology and certain realms of ADHD. I think will be interesting. Yeah, Carson. For those people who've met my dad, or maybe if you haven't, he's a really cool dude. So it's really exciting that he's on the other end of receiving a kidney. For a long time, it was hard to have our daily conversations. I made sure to try and call him every single day. And I'd say, how are you doing today? And he'd be very depressed. Well, if I don't end up getting a kidney, then I'd like to get this taken care of. And everything was always with a very real possibility that he was going to die. Like every single conversation you had, it was sandwiched with, in parentheses, there is a semicolon at the end of that sentence, but also I could die. And he's such a lighthearted and funny person that really doesn't ever want to be going to pity parties. It was hard for him. And I imagine that that's real for any and every person. When you really realize that you're going to die, that you're not getting out of this thing alive, and that you might have a terminal illness or something going on with your health that you have to limit yourself, it can be very, very depressing. And my dad did a good job not getting too depressed, but I'm so thankful that that part of the conversation is out, that we're not like waiting for divine intervention, that we're not also, that he comes out of the surgery, because that was another big deal right there towards the end. He was so sick, so low in weight, not able to keep food down. His kidney was operating at like 2%. So he was just really, really weak. And the doctors were like, if he continues to lose weight at this rate, we're going to have to take him off the list because he won't survive the surgery, the recovery. And that started to get really scary because you just, I don't know, it was a weird space. It was a really weird space. So I'm really thankful that it's behind us. So that is a good thing. Taking care of your health is so important. Yeah. And also healthcare, checking in with things, going to and from doctors and all the stuff. It's stressful. So for anybody who's a caregiver for somebody on a daily basis, I am kind of already prepping and planning for how that goes down, because it's going to happen to everybody, right? Rapid behavior profiling is a topic I would like to discuss. Rapid behavior profiling. Ooh. In what context? That's what I think of rapid profile tech, like in an assessment space, or like let me know what you think on that. Because behavior profiling, I think, is extremely important in the differentiation of AI and humans. Some of the nonverbal language cues that really organic things do is key. But I think of Total Recall, which is kind of weird. But there's also, like, if you're talking like psyops or you're talking hypnosis, like in hypnosis, we do rapid induction or rapid regression. And in like profiling psyops stuff, there is this idea that you can be trained to or have a designed operation to profile people in, is it what, under 10 minutes, under 3 minutes? It's either 3, 10, or 6, or probably 3, 6, or 9. But it's not like a particular CEU or skills training that I've taken, Carson, if you're asking that. But I am a licensed hypnotherapist. So, but I don't utilize rapid induction. I don't feel like jerking the central nervous system and utilizing arousal response is always the best way to enter into something. I kind of am of the belief that the body is an organic structure that remembers everything and stores energy. And so I want to have good rapport, even unconsciously, and jerking someone into a space is, at least for the people that usually come knocking on my door, I think it would be a little too much. I think it would be a little jarring. So it's not something that I do a lot unless someone says, can you do rapid induction? And I would like that. But yeah, there are parts of like MK Ultra, parts of PsyOps stuff that I think are pretty interesting. I think one of the people that comes up a lot in, like, you have Douglas and Hughes are like the big names in PsyOps profiling, like conspiracy stuff. And I've got a book in my Amazon list to get. It came out in 2020 from Chris Hughes that was called Phrase 7. And it's a little bit about some of that, I think, what you're referring to, Carson. So if you're a big reader, maybe you would like to be in a book club with me and we can read stuff together. Alina, take extra care of your dad. There's some kind of fungus that's spreading. What do you think of the fungus? Ooh. I don't know much about the fungus that is spreading. I'm going to be honest with you. But I will say that mushrooms are terribly important to mental health, and knowing that there's a bunch of psilocybin bans and releases and regulations happening. There's some weird coincidences with, of course, like the shows that are popular, and mushrooms really are a scary alien thing. I do believe that. So that, I think, is a little nerve-wracking, and kind of like watching the show Hoarders, when you see someone's home or property that's starting to be overtaken by fungus. That is a real thing. And it's really hard to stop the spread of fungus. So yeah, we're drinking pickle juice. Like I said earlier, like Snoop Dogg said gin and juice. I think he was talking about pickle juice. Elena, it affects the lungs. You know, it reminds me of pleuresia and having a dehydration of the lung tissue, and COVID being an upper respiratory disease anyway. Knowing that it's got certain parts of the T cells, like immunocompromised cell structures, the in and out, the gatekeeping, the letting things in and out. Fungus, creepy, 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 sneaky, creepy. I don't like fungus. Makes me want to bleach things. Just talking about it. Right? Carson, I hope that answered your question. And let me know if you guys want to go further into discussion on something specific. I really, really, really. Carson says, yeah, understanding baseline behaviors. I really get fired up about topics like this. I think baseline behavior, and both verbal and nonverbal, is extremely important. That's something that me working with offenders via Zoom, I don't get to see the majority of how they're responding and their body language. And baseline behavior, it's an extremely important part of profiling, especially like feeling safe and comfortable. Luckily, people can't strangle me through Zoom, but they can get really upset. And then if they don't get the resolution that they want, they can come find you. So you got to be careful. For those of you wondering that awkward radio silence, I'm reading the chat room, people sending private messages, and Lena asking if I could pull a tarot card. Lena, again, take a moment to think about your question. And if you would like, guys, I'm doing all the free readings of my human readings and tarot readings right now. If you would like to get a Chat GPT and send over a donation, I'll put up, you can go to Paranormal Sarah and do that, or message me. I would love to incorporate you into that experiment. Lena, the Queen of Wands. Looks like the new Melanie Martinez the mask that she's wearing for her concerts. Talk about freaky deaky. Queen of Wands, relationship, intuition, fluidity of fire. The Queen of Fire. This is like, Lagatha would be Queen of Swords. I would say this would be, like the Queen of England. Very, very powerful in her action. That wand, that leaf. She's got the luck dragon there at her feet from the Neverending Story. Making things happen. Making things happen through the influence of relationship and intuitive fire. What are you going to do about it? Oh yeah, what are you doing? What are you going to accomplish today? What productive things are you going to get done? I think about like my family. They went out today and cut up a big tree that had fallen in our yard, and they shoveled, and they're all out there just sweating and working. And that's what they did to recycle their energy today. The Queen of Wands is the influencer of that, the nurturer of, yeah, go out and do that. Go out and do those things. That's a really good thing to be doing. So, see? She said, yep, we even went out despite there being snow. We thought we thought we might stay in, but went outside instead. Good. Perfect. I think the spring fever being isolated, continuing to be stagnant, it is very much going to make you feel that way as well. So if you're tired of feeling that way and you want to change that energy, kickstart those engines, crank it over, get out there, do something, shake your body, move your body today. But anyway, so you guys, I've got chicken on the skillet top. I browned some chicken and then some onions and sun-dried tomatoes and butter, and then put some cream and cheese in the skillet, and then put the chicken back in the skillet with some salt and pepper and some thyme, some garlic. It should be really good. I watched somebody make it this morning and I thought, I want that. So that Virgo in me wanting to be productive, I feel it, but then also like, I love to cook. I love to eat. I love to be engaged and enjoy what it is that I'm doing. I feel like I always want to enjoy it. Joy is very important. So you can find joy in laundry. I'll be the first person in line to help you do it. If you can stand around and giggle while you fold socks and be multitasking, totally. Carson says, the dog whisperer is the perfect example of energy release for me. Being able to go out and communicate with animals and go on a hike. And where's my dog? He's probably pooped somewhere. He's got an ear infection, so we're working on it. But yeah, chicken is tricky. I hate cooking with chicken. I'm not even going to lie to you. Plus, my blood type is B positive, so I'm technically not supposed to eat chicken. If you believe in that sort of thing. And yeah, I don't love cooking chicken because I know that some pieces are perfect and then other pieces are questionable. and I feel like I should be cutting them in half or hammering them out, or, the grizzle is just kind of the same color as the meat. It just gets me kind of weird. So yeah, I don't love cooking with chicken. So Elena, you totally get it. You got me. You caught me. All right, guys. Below is the paranormalsarah.com link that you can find me later. I hope to maybe pop on later this evening. I'm going to share with you a neurolinguistic trick to, if you're interested in alchemy. If you are interested in what it is that we do in the Gypsy tribe for spiritual alchemy and the working of how are you doing religion when you're not religious, or maybe I'm just spiritual, but I want to be doing something. What can I be doing to sharpen my intuition? I told you guys that I would share more of that with you. So some of the words of the week and the structure in which I'm doing my tarot readings. Hopefully I can jump on later and explain it and break it all down, and we'll do some more free readings. So tag a friend, share this link, check me out later. If you'd like to invest in yourself and myself and get one of those Chat GPT readings, let me know, message me directly, and I will talk with you guys later this afternoon. Have a wonderful Sunday. I'll see you later.